Hi guys and ladies, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we have a special video in line because it's going to be a dual perfumers portfolio video, and we have one of the all-time great perfumers. Some would argue maybe the greatest perfumer of all time, and that argument could be made legitimately. And also we have some modern talk on what's going on in the perfume industry. So this video, before we get into the details, is going to be on two perfumers. One is a man named Bruno Jovanovic, who I only have two perfumes from. Another is the star of the show, and that is Mr. Dominique Ropion. Now, again, these perfumers portfolio videos, I wanted to begin making them when I started my channel because I wanted the perfumers to be given the credit, given the limelight. Some of that is starting to happen with, for example, names on the bottles. You can see right there, that's something that never used to happen in the past. So the perfumer's name is on the bottle. They're given credit in Fragrantica and Parfumo and stuff like that. So there are steps being taken, but this was really about me giving credit to the men and women that are behind the scenes. You guys know that if you've been following my channel, but for people new to the channel, that's the idea behind these perfumers portfolio videos. And they're going to be on the ones that I actually own in my collection. Obviously, I'm just a single person. I'm a retail client, if you will. I'm not a big institution, and I'm not one of the big channels that is sponsored where I get free stuff sent to me. So all of these bottles were purchased with my own money. So I have a limited budget that I can play with. But I wanted to give you an idea of what I went for, and I want to highlight some of the perfumes in my collection from these two gentlemen. But before we do that, and before I do Scent of the Day, I want to talk about a topic that has come up in the last couple of days. One of my best friends in the fragrance industry, Mr. Rich Mitch, the Duck, you guys know him as, he was at his local department store, and he was talking with some of the sales associates, and they were telling him that because of the Lilial ban, which a lot of people know about the oak moss ban down to 0.1%, a lot of people don't realize that the ban on Lilial, and I'm not a perfumer, so I'm a little out of my element here. Part of this is conjecture, hearsay. I'm not in the conversations of this at any level professionally. This is just me, sharing my passion with you guys. But what was said is that, basically, long story short, that Lilial ban is going to affect brands substantially. There are brands that are going to have to discontinue fragrances if they can't get the reformulation right. For example, the one that was currently brought up is Tom Ford. Tom Ford is a house that got hit very hard with the Lilial ban. And some people in the community who I really respect and know, and I know that they know what they're talking about. Like, for example, Euro Rose, he was saying, you think that the oak moss ban was bad, wait till the Lilial ban kicks in. It's going to be like a nuclear bomb on these houses. They're going to have to basically reformulate everything. Some of them were saying that some of the perfumes that were currently on the shelf have been sent off to be reformulated, but the ones that were in stock actually had to be taken down and destroyed. Now, I don't know if that's only in England, where Rich Mitch is at. I don't know if that's in only Europe, where the European Cosmetic Council has authority. But there was another meeting that came up to my attention yesterday, and again, Yurik sent me this. He keeps me in the loop, and I'm very appreciative of that. But it was like a WebEx meeting where they were talking about the future of the perfumer's palette, and they want to, in effect, ban all naturals, which, to my conspiracy theory mind, instantly goes to, oh, of course, they want to give the big flavoring houses more business. Why would you want to use natural oak moss when you can use this synthetic oak moss that makes Givaudan even more money? Why would you want to use, a natural rose extrait, which is expensive, or maybe it's inconsistent if you buy some from Morocco, Bulgaria, whatever it may be, France, whatever it may be, they're different. And so that's the kind of thing that goes through my mind whenever I see this stuff going on. I instantly go to there's more behind the scenes. So I say all this to say that when I talk about some of these perfumes, I'm going to give you an example of one in particular that the lady told Rich Mitch that it had to be destroyed. They took all of the stock off the shelves and just basically sent it to be destroyed because it could not be sold in its current form. As fragrance lovers, that's something that kind of gets you going. Maybe you want to go pick up a bottle now before the current stock at discounters is gone, or whatever it may be, right? That's what my brain goes through to as a fragrance lover. And since I don't run this channel as a business, I want to share that information with you guys. That's the idea of having this conversation. I'm sure there are people who are way more in the know than I am, who could shine even more light on the topic, and I can't. Because again, I'm not a perfumer, I'm not an industry insider, I'm just a fragrance lover. And but it's a topic that's very important. If they're not going to be able to sell Koros anymore, and YSL discontinues it, and you guys can get the jump start on going to get your backup bottles now, or whatever whatever you need. Lilial is apparently a very important ingredient in many different types of fragrances. And so these houses, especially these old classics, you guys know I love the classics. I love vintage perfume. It might be my most favorite category, even more than these expensive niche fragrances that I buy. I love vintage the most because it feels like they put more time and effort. They weren't doing it to sell something for $1,000. They were doing it to, create something amazing, and they gave it to every person in society for $5, $10 a bottle, that kind of stuff. That means a lot. The ingredients smelled better. The natural ingredients they used back then were more impressive. They didn't have the current synthetics, which can be good and can be bad. But that's a debate for another day. Today, we're doing the Perfumers portfolio video, but I wanted to just have that high-level talk with you guys so you're aware. I'm not telling you to go drop everything and run out and go buy 10 bottles of, Monsieur. But I am telling you to at least understand that those kind of conversations are happening at high levels right now. And it's working its way through the process, and it's having real world effects, especially in England. I know that's a case in England. Here, in Texas, I don't have many department stores close to me where I go to. I don't have, unless I'm willing to drive to downtown Fort Worth or Dallas or something like that. I don't have very many, it's not like I have many high-end department stores close to me where I can just go smell all of the Frederick malls or something like that. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff I just buy online and they ship it to me. But so I don't have any way to talk to sales associates and have those kind of conversations, but I would love to hear your feedback on the topic. If you're in the United States or elsewhere in the world outside of just England and you've run into these issues already, do let us know. So I'll leave it at that. 8 minutes of quick high-level rambling on fragrances, on the current state of the fragrance industry. Let's do scent of the day. Today's scent of the day is a discontinued classic. Go figure. You're on my channel. This is what you're going to get. And this is the stuff I actually wear. I'm not just showing you stuff, I'm not flexing on you guys. This is actually what I am wearing. These are my scents of the day. This one is a holy grail fragrance for some. Let me show you the fragrance. It's called Donna Karan Men. DK Men is what it's actually called when it originally came out in 1994. You can see DK Men Cologne. So this is this a 60 mil? 75 mil. This is a 75 mil bottle, and it comes in this weird, some people say it looks like Thor's helmet. Some people say it looks like a gun. Some people say, I don't know what it's supposed to be honest with you. I have no clue. But it's a weird bottle. But at least they put the time and effort into the bottle. This is the only Donna Karan fragrance worth buying, ever, in my opinion. There's nothing else the house has ever done that's worth it. This is a fragrance that came out in 1994. It's this spicy, leathery fragrance with spices, citruses, tobacco, and suede. And what's interesting about this fragrance is this is a very decadent and rich fragrance. It's really the only way I can describe it. It's a very hard to describe fragrance. Imagine if Herod by Parfums de Malle was made with a bigger suede note, less tobacco, made richer like a vintage Guerlain, right? And that disgusting sweetness that Herod has was toned down and taken away. But the osmanthus, that fruity, leathery osmanthus stays, which I think there is osmanthus in this. I absolutely love this fragrance. It could be a 90s version of Herod, or it could be a 90s version of like Tuscan leather. You know, there is this fruity leather facet, whereas Tuscan leather has raspberry and leather. DK Men has pineapple and suede. So think pineapple suede with tobacco. See, Tuscan leather has that cigarette in the ashtray that got snubbed out kind of thing. That dirty ashtray vibe. This has tobacco as well, but it's not as dirty. But there's a definite spicy, citrusy, floral element to this as well. I don't know what the florals are. I can't tell. Parfumo only shows citruses, spices, tobacco, and suede. That's it. I'm sure there's osmanthus in this. That would be my guess. Osmanthus is the twist, but it's so rich and heavy, and it's like you can sink your teeth into it, you know? And they just don't make stuff like this today. I'm sorry. I wish I could say, oh, go out and buy this fragrance that's available at Macy's for $20 and you'll get the same feel. You won't. This is a fragrance of its time, and now you have to pay $300, $400, $500, $600 a bottle for this, and that's just the way it is. And if you're a vintage hunter, you understand the risks of that. I don't know if you can see the juice, but the juice level is right about here. So I probably have, I don't know, 65 mil left out of the 75 mil bottle. And I wear this occasionally when I want to remind myself of how amazing it is. And I think IFF made this. So it goes to show even the big flavoring houses back then did amazing work. Other than IFF, I have no clue who the perfumer is. It's not on Parfumo. I didn't bother looking on Fragrantica, but scent of the day, and it's an amazing one. If you're a vintage hunter like me, you know, do what I did. Do whatever. What I do when I see fragrances like this that I want is I put them on the master list and I watch them and I keep an eye out and I see and I check, and the ones that are listed at $500, $600, $700, I don't buy those. I wait. Or, you know, I find someone that has multiple bottles that I want and offer them a discount for multiple bottles. But you have to be patient. There is a bit of patience and art form to this hobby. You know, unless you're just made of money and you can just go out there and go buy everything at top dollar, fine. But for most of the world, you've got to wait and hunt and be patient and pick your spots. You've got to pick your spots. Maybe I gave something else up to get this. You know what I mean? So you have to decide. And hopefully these videos help you make those decisions. So anyways, that's my scent of the day. DK Men, a lost hidden gem from the 90s. All right, let's get into the two perfumers, Bruno Jovanovic and Dominique Ropion. Dominique Ropion's going to dominate most of this list, so let's knock out Bruno Jovanovic first. Let's do the one that I hate, all right? This is a fragrance that I absolutely despise. I bought it because, you know, some of the modern fragrance reviewers, I won't say any names, but some of the modern reviewers and some of the people on YouTube who like sweet fragrances talked about how amazing this fragrance is. And I saw it had leather, and I said, okay, whatever, I'll go for it. This is Boss the Scent Intense. And I absolutely despise this fragrance. This is one of the most disgusting fragrances I've ever smelled. It smells like the antithesis of what a man should smell like. It literally smells like if you took what I think a man should smell like and you created a fragrance that was the exact opposite of that, this is it. This has this disgustingly sweet bubblegum opening thing that is going on in modern men's fragrances, and they added this twist of maninka fruit, which just smells cheap and disgusting, and vanilla. And so vanilla, which is sweet, maninka fruit, which is cheap smelling in this fragrance, even though they tried to make it have like a twist or whatever, it doesn't smell like a twist. It smells like a cheap bubblegum sweet, and then there's some generic sweetness at the top, that fruity bubblegum thing that they put in men's fragrances that I despise. I don't know what that note is, but I can't stand this stuff. If Eugene was here, he could blowtorch this bottle right now for all I care. Scent Intense, Bruno Jovanovic's fragrance, I hate. All right, now let's go to the one that I love. And this is the one that prompted this video, because Rich Mitch told me that the Frederick Malle lady at the counter told him that this is the fragrance that they had to basically pull off the shelf and send it to be destroyed because of the Lilial ban. And this is Monsieur by Bruno Jovanovic, is the perfumer, obviously. We're highlighting him for the house of Frederick Malle. I am so happy I have a bottle of this, hearing that. I don't know, again, someone told me Frederick Malle batch codes, and I can never remember. Mine's A20. I guess that's April of 2020. 20174. I have no clue. All I know is this is a fragrance that got acclaim and got the spotlight because of the fact that 50% of the concentration here is patchouli. And they used a special sort of patchouli where they did some sort of defractionalization. I don't know the exact verbiage. Like I said, I'm not a perfumer or in the industry. But basically what you get is you get one of the best patchouli fragrances to me, with rum, tangerine, vanilla, musk, cedar, frankincense, amber, and suede. It's absolutely stunning in the winter. Now, this is a heavy fragrance. Bruno Jovanovic is a heavy-handed perfumer. He's the opposite of Jean-Claude Elena, let's say. And some people can't stand the fact that when... Actually, this was the first fragrance that came out when Estee Lauder overtook Frederick Malle as a brand, like when they bought them. This was the first one that came out in 2016. I think it was 2016. Can't believe it's been 6 years already. But this is this earthy, woody patchouli. That mixture of rum and tangerine is just a brilliant stroke. The vanilla should not put you off if you don't like vanilla. The frankincense adds class. I mean, this is... You could easily wear this with a suit. You could wear this. This is a half the year fragrance. Anything from fall to winter. Just don't wear it spring and summer. I couldn't imagine this being worn. Like right now it's going to be 92 degrees here in Texas. I couldn't imagine wearing this today. It would be, even though I said this is a suede fragrance, this is a completely different beast. But if you love this stuff like I do, and, you know, like my buddy Rich Mitch was on the fence for a long time. Do I get it? Do I not? Do I like it? Do I hate it? The Lilial ban pushed him to get a bottle. And if you're in that same situation, now might be a time to look at this, because who knows what the reformulation will look like. And who knows what, if they even reformulate it, they may do a cost-benefit analysis and say it's not worth it. We can't keep the fragrance intact. You know, we can't keep the true soul of the fragrance, so we're just going to discontinue it. That's definitely a possibility. And so that's the reason why I harp on, you know, years and versions and distributors and all that stuff, is it does matter. There are changes to fragrances over time. And so this is a great example. This is a unique time in the fragrance world. And so I wanted to share that with you. That's what basically got this video going. But I figured, you know, I couldn't just do Bruno Jovanovic. I mean, I could. We're at 20 minutes. I could just end it here. But you know, my videos always have to be an hour. And so I figured, why not add in the legend, the great Dominique Ropion. Let me read you a little bit about Dominique Ropion. And I love these little blurbs from Parfumo. It says, Dominique Ropion sees himself as the adventurer among perfumers, always true to his instincts. This tactic has led him straight to the Olympus of fragrance creation. Born in Paris in 1955, he consistently followed his nose and his calling from a young age. He trained as a perfumer at the Roy Bertrand Dupont Academy in Grasse, which later became the Givaudan Cadre. His first professional station led him to Jean-Louis Suizac, who's another perfumer who will get a Perfumers portfolio video. Absolutely. Love his work. Huge fan. Where he learned to cultivate his perfection and develop his creativity. Since 2000, he has been working at IFF, International Flavors and Fragrances. His work for all renowned brands worldwide has become bestsellers and wrote perfume history. He worked on new creations with most of the major fashion houses over several years, with over 250 perfumes during his career. Many experts see his striving for perfection as the secret of his fantastic fragrance creations. Dominique Ropion views fragrance components and individual ingredients like the chords of a composition. New harmonies are always possible, but you have to look for them and find them. He has already received several prestigious awards for his work. In 2008, he received the Prix François Coty, which is comparable to the Oscars. In 2012, he was named Chevalier de l'Ordre, I'm not going to even continue reading that, des Arts et des Lettres. The State Award is a tribute to persons who have rendered outstanding services to the fine arts of France. Since 2018, he has been allowed to call himself Master Perfumer. This honorary title is equivalent to a knighthood. The IFF awards it exclusively to its most successful perfumers. Okay, so there you go. There's a little blurb on Dominique Ropion. So let's start with his journey. The Dominique Ropion fragrances begin in my collection we have to go back in time to the year 1984. I wasn't even born then. And in 1984, he released a fragrance. Now, I have not given this a full wear yet, but I wore it to bed twice. And every time I wore it to bed, it completely overtook me. Just overtook my senses. I absolutely loved it. It's another one of these thick fragrances that just has everything. Like if Dominique Ropion is stirring a pot like a witch's brew, just imagine him dumping everything in here and it somehow works. This is Satus De Givonchi. Now this is a vintage bottle that I got from Anuj, and you can tell it's a vintage by the shortened ingredient list. You can see that there's not a list as long as your arm here. It's a short ingredient list, so you can tell it's a vintage. And you can also tell it's a vintage by some of the verbiage on the bottom and the bottle. So let's take a look at the bottle. It's an absolutely stunning bottle too, by the way. So it comes with this little protective styrofoam. And here's the bottle. And you can see it has this lovely stopper, perfume stopper. I know this is just going to be, if you love, there's a couple women's fragrances that I've purchased recently that I've gone on to wax lyrically about. One of which is, how am I drawing a blank on this one? One of which is La Nuit, Paco Rabanne. It's a women's fragrance. The box is behind this door here. And the other one is a Krizia fragrance, which I am drawing a blank on right now, but let me pull it up. Let me just pull it up. Teatro alla Scala by Krizia. If you like Teatro alla Scala, or if you like La Nuit by Paco Rabanne, not La Nuit alone, La Nuit for the women's version, this is in that same ballpark. This is even the eau de toilette. This is not the eau de parfum. Okay, so this is the, let me just make sure. Yes, eau de toilette, 85% volume, 60903, 100 ml. There you go. There's the bottom. So this is in those three ballparks, if you will. La Nuit by Paco Rabanne and Teatro alla Scala. But it's a little, the reason I say Teatro alla Scala is it's a floral chiffre. A huge aldehydic opening, beautiful, absolutely stunning. Everything about this fragrance stunned me when I wore it. I loved every little detail. You could tell the attention to detail. You could tell the ingredients. It's just not it's not my favorite perfume to wear every day. I'd rather wear Monsieur or, you know, some of these other masculines coming up. I like wearing that stuff during the day, but at night, before bed, put something like this on, break it down, see how it develops. I enjoy stuff like that, but I usually don't make these kind of scents my scent of the day. I would have no problem wearing this, but it is big and bold and loud. We're talking about the 80s. And just like I said, Teatro alla Scala is like the fat lady at the opera singing at an 11 out of a 10. This is an 11 out of 10. I can just smell it. I can smell it radiating from the stopper. And it's just, the ingredients are amazing. You get this aldehydic opening with citruses, a bunch of citruses, and a bunch of florals like orange blossom, neroli, and then you're hit with green galbanum, beautiful galbanum, but nowhere near as much galbanum as number 19. If number 19 puts you off, I would still say try this. And then you're hit with this honeyed floral, rich honey floral, honey, Florentine, iris, jasmine, tuberose. If you're a tuberose lover, which tuberose is a note that is usually a no-no for me, but here it's done so beautifully. Tuberose, Egyptian rose, narcissus, ylang ylang, and honey, rich honey with oak moss, clove, musk, vanilla, vetiver, sandalwood, patchouli, civet, castoreum. All right, there's your two animalics with bay rum in the base. So it smells like you're at like a party. You know, there's a wedding reception, there's flowers, there's people drinking the bay rum. There are citruses in their drink because it's hot outside, but it's a celebratory mood. That kind of thing. You know, someone whips out their best fragrance for a wedding. This is it. This is Ysatis de Givenchy. I don't know about reformulations. All I know is this vintage bottle that I got from Anouge is absolutely mind-blowing. Again, not my favorite type of thing to wear, but if you want to just break something down, if you want to go into technical perfume geek mode, this is definitely something to put on the to buy list or to sniff list. Okay. Next, we're going to go to one of my favorite Dominique Ropions and one of the most underappreciated. No one talks about this Dominique Ropion. Everyone talks about all the other ones. They don't talk about this one, and I don't know why, to be honest with you. I absolutely love this stuff. In fact, I have 2 bottles. And you know, anytime I buy a backup bottle, it's serious, because I'll probably never finish any of these bottles. But my goal is to finish them. This is Maxim's pour Homme. Now, Maxim's is a restaurant in Paris that became popular, well, has been popular for a long time, but it's places where like Christian Dior used to go eat, you know, stuff like that. There are even a fragrance that Dior did recently, Vanilla Diorama, I think it was, that was supposed to be based off of a dessert that Christian Dior would order at Maxim's restaurant. So don't think it's weird that this is a tribute to a restaurant. But the fragrances that I would point you to, if you like fragrances like Salvador Dali pour Homme, or if you like fragrances like Antaeus, I would highly encourage you to get your nose on this. Now, my bottle says distributed in US by Gary Farn Limited, Milford, Connecticut. I bought 1 bottle off of eBay, and I bought 1 bottle off of Anouge. The bottles look almost identical on the bottom, except for this one that I got from Anouge doesn't say distributed in US. It just has, you know, that's the one from eBay, that's the one from Canada. It just doesn't have the little sticker on the back. But either way, I will tell you that here's the note breakdown. Lavender, bergamot, carnation, beautiful carnation. Amber, jasmine, sandalwood, cedarwood, oak moss, leather, musk. So there's no castoreum listed here. But to my nose, I get a definite castoreum vibe. And I think, again, my unprofessional opinion, I think that castoreum here is what's creating that leather accord. They used to use the leatheriness of castoreum, like in fragrances like Leonard pour Homme. They used to use those type of fragrances to create that leather base. So while I get leather, I get castoreum in leather, which is my favorite type of leather. One of my favorite types of leather. And I absolutely love this stuff. Just like Antaeus is kind of classy and you can wear it anywhere, I think you can wear this anywhere, honestly. Even though it's animalic, I think you can wear this to places and not freak people out. You know, it's a little more acceptable, let's say, than some of the old Koros. You might get a little self-conscious wearing old Koros around. I don't care, but you know what I mean. Next, we're gonna go to another Krizia, but this time it is a Krizia fragrance called Krazy Krizia. Now, one thing I should say about Teatro alla Scala, by the way, just before we go to Krazy Krizia, there's no perfumer listed. I've never been able to find a perfumer. The fact that this is credited to Dominique Ropion, Krazy Krizia, and the fact that he did Ysatis, which to my mind really harkens towards Teatro alla Scala territory. Maybe he did Teatro alla Scala. I have no idea. That's a mystery I would love to solve. But credit is given to Dominique Ropion for this, for Krazy Krizia. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not killing myself to hunt down a vintage bottle of Obsession. I bought one, and it didn't really, it was bad. It wasn't so bad you couldn't wear it, but it was turned. The top notes were turned. You would have to wait probably half an hour to 45 minutes to really start getting the Obsession breakdown. And here, this bottle has been preserved beautifully. Now, this is the Eau de Toilette. I like to show this one because it's a spray. I also bought the Eau de Parfum, which is a splash. I got both of these for like 85 or 90 bucks or something. Both, EDT and the EDP. In 100 milliliter concentrations. Look at the color of the juice. If you like Obsession, if you like Must de Cartier, if you like fragrances like Must de Cartier, this is the Parfum. This is a vintage as well, of course. But if you like these type of fragrances, Obsession for women, if you like Tonka heavy fragrances, if you like Fève Delicious, this is better than Fève. If you like Tonka Imperial, this is better than Tonka Imperial. To my nose, this is one of the best Tonka fragrances you can buy, and you can get it for 40 or 50 bucks. So you know me, I don't like to hype stuff because it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it matters, that's why I do this, but it doesn't matter to me how many units of this I sell by saying this and someone going out and buying it. That's not why I'm saying that. I'm saying that to say I speak very highly of this fragrance as someone who doesn't love Tonka as my favorite category, that Tonka vanilla. But this is a Dominique Ropion. And if you think Obsession smells good, I think this smells even higher quality ingredients. It smells like one of the best amber Tonka vanilla labdanum with civet. There's some civet here. There's some dirtiness here. This is 1991. People, you know, weren't offended by everything back then. And the opening is so green, even though it's amber. Look at the color of the juice. Even though it's ambery and it smells like the color of the juice, there is a lot of green and fruity touches to it. So you get this aldehydic opening, like Ysatis. You get this green, you know, Must de Cartier has this green galbanum fruit thing going on. And so does this. This has peach with galbanum and basil. And In the heart, you got a beautiful floral heart, carnation, jasmine, lily of the valley, and rose. The base is labdanum, sandalwood, cedarwood, patchouli, amber, tonka, vanilla, civet. So the tonka is one of the main notes to my nose. This is a big tonka fragrance, big. And when I think of tonka, I think of, you know, I think of almost like this, almost like something that's like syrup that's poured out, you know, it just slowly drips out of the bottle and it's resinous, it's thick. And the EDP feels like it's a little bit heavier, but the note breakdown is exactly the same. So whichever one you can get your hands on. Don't feel bad about buying the EDP or EDT. Don't feel bad about buying the EDP. They're both amazing. And if you can get this like I did for $40 or $45 each, you're getting a hell of a fragrance for $45. That's my 2 cents. And Krazy Krizia, 1991. Okay, now we're going to jump to 1990. What are we going to jump to? We're going to jump to 1996. And this is another one of these women fragrances that I'm not too keen on wearing. But God, I love breaking it down. I love wearing it before bed. I'll throw this on and just let my nose just, you know, try to take in all of the nuances. And this is a very nuanced favorite fragrance. This is also a Oriental fragrance. You can kind of see what Dominique Ropion was doing in the 90s. And this is called Kenzo Jungle, the original for women from 1996. Olivier Cresp did Kenzo Jungle for men, which came out a couple years later and is also a classic. But this should not be overlooked by men or women. This fragrance, nice little elephant cap. This is a vintage bottle that I got from Manouche before Kenzo was purchased by LVMH. So it's a little 30 ml bottle, which is fine. Again, when you have a collection like mine, you don't need big bottles all the time. And you can see the batch code right there. 4G02. 4G02. This is a collaboration with Jean-Louis Suizac, who did Opium, the original Opium. And there are some sparks of connection in my brain between this and the original Opium. They're both Orientals. They both use a heavy, spicy note of clove. There's a lot of clove here. But this fragrance has a twist that reminds me of like a Bertrand Duchefort twist. There's a mango note in here, and he used green mango in Timbuktu to perfection. Bertrand Duchefort, that is. Here, there's cardamom and clove, and it is a Oriental, so you get the vanilla and you get the patchouli and stuff like that. But there's this fruity mango note, which is just perfectly placed. Not too much, not too little. The clove will remind you a little bit of Opium, but then it's its own thing, you know what I mean? And there's a beautiful heliotrope note in here. If you are a heliotrope lover, and if you own fragrances like Le Bleu, and they're your favorite fragrances, you love the note of heliotrope, I would highly encourage you to smell Kenzo Jungle for women. There's a gardenia, heliotrope, and ylang trio in this fragrance that just fits beautifully. I can't talk about reformulations because I've never smelled the new stuff, but I can tell you that this bottle is absolutely stunning. And look, it's got a little twist to it. I love the bottles that it looks like they took some time. You know what I mean? It's not just a standard bottle. You know, it's like, come on, actually act like you put some effort into it. Okay, next we're gonna go to another discontinued fragrance, unfortunately, from the house of Escada, which they discontinued all their masculine fragrances. So if you ever see a masculine fragrance and it's from the house of Escada, it's discontinued. And this is 1999. This is the reason why I don't own a bottle of Le Malle, okay? Le Malle came out a couple years before this in the mid-90s. I think this is better. This is Escada Casual Friday, but I will warn you that this is not one of these long-lost, discontinued fragrances that you're going to put on and it's going to blow your mind. No, this is a designer. It smells like a designer. It smells simple. If you were alive back then and you wore this, this might be the greatest fragrance of all time to you. If you've never smelled this and you pay $500 a bottle or some outrageous amount and you expect to get Roja Dove Great Britain quality, you're going to be let down. This is not anything more than a designer. It's a very well done designer. It is a little bit unique, but it's still at the end of the day a designer. You know, and I said the same thing about Good Life by Davidoff, and that's a Pierre Bourdon creation. I love Pierre Bourdon. I just don't think it's worth the big money these are going for nowadays. I have a 125 ml tester. I don't have a cap, as you can tell. That's more than enough for me. And basically, this fragrance is one of my favorite lavender fragrances. It's just a simple lavender with anise, tarragon, coriander, bergamot, carnation, jasmine, cardamom. There is a lily of the valley note here. It's May. It's lily of the valley month. So there's lily of the valley. There's cinnamon, amber, oak moss, patchouli, tonka, vanilla, and cedar. The main notes are lavender with some spices, the cardamom, cinnamon combo, and vanilla. Those are the main notes you're going to get. And it will remind you a little bit of Le Male. This is like a better done Le Male. And I like that anise note at the top. It is not something you would pick up on probably the first or second wear, but it's there. And it just makes it a little bit more masculine. You know, that vanilla lavender thing, even though Caron Pour Homme from 34 did it, it still seems a little like it needs a little more push to the masculine side. The anise does that. So that's my take on Escada Casual Friday. Don't run out and mortgage your house for it or anything. Now, one that I got for 20 bucks, and I saw it for hundreds on a website the other day, and I thought, Jesus. And this is probably my least favorite Dominique Ropion fragrance. My least favorite. Actually, you know what? Wait a minute. I'm gonna take this back. We're gonna wait because I'm trying to go in order, and I skipped one. I have a decant here of a fragrance that came out in the year 2000. So we're gonna skip. There was another Escada that's coming up next. But first, we're gonna do this. This is from the house of Frederic Malle. There's a couple Frederic Malles in here. This is Unflour De Cassie, and this is a fragrance marketed towards, I think it was marketed towards women. Now they consider it unisex or whatever, but this is another one that I really enjoy. Heavy florals, though. Dominique Ropion really uses florals well. And this is Cassia with carnation, jasmine, cumin, mimosa. That cumin puts people off in the opening. I don't think it's enough cumin, to be honest with you, but some people say it's too much for them. There is this aldehydic floral cumin thing going on with rose, apricot, violet, musk, sandalwood, and cedarwood. You know, if you want a well-done floral with a twist, check out Unflour De Cassie. Not my favorite. I will not be getting a full bottle, but I'm glad to have this little decant. Thank you, Mood Desir. And then we're going to go to the Escada that I think is not worth it, that I think is overpriced, that I think is just kind of a fresh, you know, it's just a fresh, easy to throw on fragrance. It's nothing special. It's Escada Sentiment. The bottle's cool. Look, it's like this Lego bottle, and it's written right there. Escada Sentiment Pour Homme. Excuse me. Escada Sentiment is its own fragrance. This is Escada Sentiment Pour Homme. And this is basically this fresh, spicy thing from the early 2000s, 2002. It's lime and juniper berries with nutmeg, pimento, and pink pepper, sandalwood, vetiver, and cedar. That's pretty much it. It's just like this, citrusy, spicy, woody thing. That's nothing exciting. You know, I'm glad to have a bottle because it's discontinued as reference, but do I get excited to wear this when it's 100 degrees? Will I wear it? Sure. you know, it's pleasant. Let's put it that way. It's okay, which is like the worst thing you can say about a fragrance. Yeah, it's pleasant. It's not my thing. Next, we are going to go to the year 2009. And if you were watching my unboxing from earlier this week, then you will have seen this pop up. This is Geranium Pour Monsieur. Now, I got this in the 50 ml because, again, you don't always need a lot of juice when you have a big collection. And this is, what is this? A89. I have no clue what that means. April, I don't know. Can't even figure it out. But basically, this is a spicy, fresh, green scent that has this minty peppermint thing going on. You have to be very careful with mint because it can remind people of like toothpaste, the dentist. Here, I haven't given it a full wear yet, so I don't feel confident enough to say that, I don't feel confident enough to give a true breakdown of this scent yet. But from what I can tell, the clove, cinnamon, peppermint, mint thing with woods and frankincense in the base and some styrax, there's some heft to this. It's not all transparent. I like it. I'll wear it more and talk more about it and all that stuff. But right now, this is a like for the high heat when it's 100 degrees. This would be a big contender. Next, we're going to go to another decant, and people might be shocked I don't have a full bottle of this, but it's not my favorite, to be honest with you. I like it. I enjoy it for what it is, but a decant's more than enough for me. This is Portrait of a Lady by Frederick Malle. And Portrait of a Lady, you can see I've given it a couple wears. It's this floral spicy scent. It's known for mixing the clove with rose and patchouli. It's like a clove, rose, patchouli to my nose with some fruits, right? So you get raspberry, blackcurrant, and then there's amber, benzoin, and musk in the base. A great fragrance. Technically one of the best fragrances Dominique Ropion has ever done. It's like Unflour De Cassie for me. I appreciate it, I like it, but I wouldn't get a full bottle. Okay, next. We're gonna go to a designer fragrance, and I got this for like $10 or 12, 15 bucks maybe, I think, if I remember. This is a sweet leathery scent from the house of Burberry, and it's called Burberry Brit. Now, this is the Eau de Toilette Intense that came out in 2015. They came out with a version in 2013 that was just the Eau de Toilette, not the Intense version. But this is a fragrance that opens up with, even though it has this designer sweetness to it, it has absinthe, wormwood, whatever you want to call it, absinthe wormwood with peppermint and cumin, which is an insane opening for a designer. But it's mixed with patchouli, amber, and leather. And then it's mixed with gaiac wood, tonka, and cashmeran. So it does have this sweetness, right? Designer sweetness, which I said I hate in the scent. But here, I don't hate it as much. You know, Dominique Ropion did a little more touching up to this fragrance. You know, if I had to wear a $12 fragrance, I would wear this. I might not love it, but I would wear it. Next, we are going to go to another decant, and another one that I will not be buying a full bottle of, but I'm very glad to have a decant of, and this is from the year 2014. This is one of Estee Lauder's most expensive fragrances ever. This is Frederick Malle's The Night, which has real oud in it, according to the brand. Animalic, woody, oudy fragrance, which is good. It is a good fragrance. It just has a problem to my nose, and that's that for $1,600 or whatever Estee Lauder is charging for this little gem nowadays. And you can see I've given it a couple wears. For $1,600, or, you know, I don't know what the pricing is now, but let's say between $1,000 and $2,000 is a bottle of this stuff. I can get 4 Bortnikov fragrances, which I think Bortnikov's oud is superior to the Night. They don't have the overhead, I guess, Frederic Malle has. And I think their oud is better. This is just a very well done rose oud with saffron. It's Turkish rose, oud, saffron, frankincense, and sandalwood. Nice fragrance. Glad to have been able to enjoy it and appreciate it. But would I buy a bottle at those prices? No, absolutely not. I would wear my my Bortnikovs. So there you have it. Next, we are going to go to a fragrance that I think deserves more talk, that I think is underappreciated, even though it is a Dominique Ropion. This is a fragrance by the house of Costume National. Came out in 2015, and it's called Soul. Costume National Soul. Now, Soul, what is on my bottle? It's like hairspray or something from back in the day. I don't use hairspray anymore, so this must have been a while. But Costume National Soul has one of the cheapest caps you'll ever see, by the way. But it's made to like blend in, I guess. It's a camouflaged cap. This is a bright amber fragrance. One of the best bright amber fragrances you can imagine, with leather and oud. So think spicy, bright amber, leather, and oud. So there's cardamom, pink pepper, bergamot, geranium, leather, oud, ambergris, vanilla, and patchouli. And if you want a bright amber fragrance, that if you want an amber fragrance that doesn't follow 90% of ambers and go dark, and you want it to stay bright, check out Costume National Soul. This is completely unisex. Maybe that oud thing, the oud makes it lean a little bit more masculine, but it's completely unisex to me. I think this would smell amazing on a woman. And so this is one that needs more talk. Unfortunately, not enough people realize how beautiful this fragrance is, especially if you're an amber lover. Costume National Soul, 2015. Okay, now we're going to go to one of my favorite fragrances. It made my top 100. I think it was even in the top 50 if I remember, but it's been a while and I forgot already. But this is from 2017, and this is Frederic Malle's Promise. My God, this fragrance right here. What is this? A28. I have no idea how to do these Frederic Malle things. Oh my God. Now, this is another fragrance that might have to be reformulated. And I would never back up these because, again, look how much juice I have still. That is a ton of juice for a fragrance this strong. You only need 1-2 sprays max of this stuff. And so this is the best use of Cypriol I've ever smelled. Okay, that's my initial 2 cents on Promise. It is my favorite of the Desert Gems. My second favorite is probably The Moon by Julian Rascanet. So these two are the two that I really rate. Dominique Ropion's Promise and Julian Rascanet's The Moon. Oh, I love both of these. But Promise is probably my favorite. It's also the cheapest, price-wise. And it's pink pepper, rosemary, and apple. One of the best apple notes in perfumery. It's hard to do an apple note because you can't just squeeze an apple into a bottle. Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, absolute, and clove. With patchouli, ambroxan, labdanum, cypriol, and castoreum. And I love the castoreum here. Yes, it's synthetic. It's not like the 80s castoreum, but synthetic civet, synthetic castoreum, I'm okay with. They are okay to my nose. Furio has a synthetic civet note, and I absolutely love it. This has a synthetic castoreum note, and I absolutely love it. But it's that cypriol in the base which just makes it so unique. This is such a unique fragrance. I adore it. I'm happy to have this bottle. I'm very blessed to have this bottle, especially if they're going through reformulations, discontinuations. Huge fan. And then the final one is a decant. Sorry to end on a decant, but we're going in order, and this is 2020. This is another Costume National, and this is called Pour Homme. Costume National Homme, I should say. And this is the Parfum version from 2020. The original came out, I think, a decade ago, 2009. And Costume National Homme is grapefruit, bergamot, cardamom with patchouli, cinnamon, vetiver, musk, sandalwood, labdanum. Beautiful, masculine, spicy, woody fragrance that you can pretty much wear anytime. And Costume National as a house, I'll tell you what, between these two, they've got some good stuff going. I'd like to smell more from the house. So, thanks for watching and commenting and, you know, all the stuff you guys do to support me. It really does mean a lot. You guys are like a family to me already. You know, the support, the intellectual conversation is just bar none. I really enjoy doing these. I will be going back to the office, hence the haircut. So there might be a couple days videos will drop late, or maybe even not at all. But I'll do what I can. You might see me in a suit, button-up suit or something, or a button-up shirt, or so I might be a little more professionally dressed, but either way, I will continue to try to do these because I love doing it so much. So I appreciate you guys watching. A like and a subscription helps, I think, with the YouTube algorithm. Helps get me exposure to people who are, you know, out there searching for this kind of stuff that might have a hard time finding me otherwise. So, you know, that kind of stuff does help. But just watching, you know, subscribing, commenting, I'm very appreciative for everyone who does all that. Obviously, you don't have to, but it does. I think it does help the channel. And you can tell by the growth we've had. So, thank you very much, everybody. Let me know your thoughts on Ropion and on Bruno Jovanovic. And I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye, guys.